From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Brad Turner, in today for Erin O'Toole. Colorado and its pets are suffering from a shortage of veterinarians. It's leading to long wait times at some clinics. And the Colorado Sun reports that many animal hospitals are so swamped, they're forced to turn away dogs and cats who need care. So, on Election Day, Colorado voters will be asked to weigh in on a possible solution. Proposition 129 would create a new class of veterinary workers called a Veterinary Professional Associate, or VPA. VPAs would require less training than traditional veterinarians to become certified. If voters approve the plan, it could mean Colorado would see more professionals able to treat pets. But is it actually a good idea? To help us understand the proposal and the arguments for and against it, we talked with Dr. John Geller. He's a Fort Collins-based emergency veterinarian, now retired, and a graduate of the School of Veterinary Medicine at Colorado State University. John has studied the issue, but has not taken a stance on Prop 129. John started things off with an overview of what kinds of work a VPA would do.
The VPA position has also been called a mid-level practitioner, and they would be able to do quite a bit of what a veterinarian currently does in terms of many of the minor injuries and diseases and very basic preventive care that pets come in for, freeing up the veterinarian to focus on more complex cases and sicker pets, major surgeries, spending time doing imaging, x-rays, studying blood work, etc., which is really what a veterinarian is licensed to do primarily, or at least that's the focus of their license, is a diagnosis, looking at x-rays, doing surgery, and prescribing drugs. This VPA position would only be doing very minor surgery, doing prescriptions with a veterinarian's approval, and doing minor procedures under the supervision of a veterinarian.
So if I bring my cat or dog to the vet clinic, how might a VPA help out my pet?
Let's say your dog has a cut on its foot and it's not bleeding very much. This would be a good example where a VPA would probably see you in the exam room after a technician took vitals, etc. Similar to what happens in a doctor's office, create a treatment plan for you and go ahead and throw a few stitches in that foot after maybe using a local block like lidocaine, maybe even a little sedation. And a veterinarian would be in the hospital on site, and they would run things by the veterinarian.
CSU recently conducted a survey of veterinary professionals, and it revealed that among the many pressures they face, one of the biggest challenges they see is the lack of access to care for pets and pet owners. 20% of Colorado has limited or no access to veterinary care, and the cost of care seems to be higher than ever. How would creating a new tier of care provider help with the issue of access to care?
It definitely would increase access to care. For example, a practitioner, say in a rural area, that may not be able to afford a veterinarian right now could hire a veterinary professional associate to take care of those minor cases. At the cost of that associate would probably be only 2/3 that of a veterinarian. So now they're able to see theoretically as many as twice as many cases. I did want to mention that I don't think it's reasonable to expect the cost of veterinary care to necessarily go down. So we're going to increase the accessibility, but there's no guarantee at all that this would necessarily decrease the cost. But especially in rural areas, there's definitely a great need for access to care.
What are you hearing about the severity of this shortage of veterinarians?
Yes, within the profession, it's a very stressful issue because the shortage of veterinarians is putting a lot of stress on the existing staff within veterinary hospitals where generally they feel like they're being overworked and underpaid somewhat across the board because longer hours are being required. And so that's what creates this need for this mid-level positioning.
Let's talk about the arguments against Prop 129, because as you mentioned, it's controversial in some quarters. The campaign that opposes it says it would allow someone with inadequate training to perform surgery on your pet. That's kind of scary. How valid is that concern?
It's definitely an overplay on the facts that presented within the proposal. So direct supervision should allow us to allay concerns about any kind of risks or dangers that might be presented by a VPA doing surgery they're not qualified to do.
Rescue organizations and humane societies largely are in favor of the proposal. How much of a game changer would it be to have a VPA who can help do simple operations at a rescue organization or clinic?
It would definitely increase the volume of pets that could be seen. And in rescue organizations, it's volume necessarily more than quality of care. I think the basic standard of care is easily met by almost all organizations in Colorado because of the oversight of the veterinary board, which would also oversee VPAs. So it allow, for example, sterilizations. It could probably allow twice as many sterilizations to happen in the same day. Veterinarians are very hard to find right now and to even fill positions. So it's not so much the cost of veterinarian, it's just there's not that many available.
When I was reading up on the issue, the intensity of the debate over whether VPAs are a good idea really stuck out to me. A group that opposes this new VPA designation calls itself Keep Our Pets Safe, basically saying this lower tier of certification could endanger our pets. What do you think has made this proposal so divisive?
It's gotten very divisive and political within the veterinary profession, which is really unfortunate because in general, we're pretty unified in our commitment to help pets and help the people that have pets. And I mentioned earlier that there's within a profession, there's some protectiveness of everyone's roles. So a veterinary technician might not be happy that someone is now able to do more than them without being a veterinarian. And a veterinarian might be concerned that a VPA is taking some of their work away. And again, this proposition is based on the assumption that there is a shortage of veterinarians and that there is a problem with access to care, both of which I think are true.
Dr. John Geller is a retired emergency veterinarian. He's also the founder of the Street Dog Coalition, a nonprofit that helps provide pet care for people experiencing homelessness. If you want to read more about Prop 129, you can find links in our show notes, or you can head to KUNC.org. If you'd like to send some feedback on this interview or another recent episode, it's easy to do. Email us at noco@kunc.org. That's NOCO@kunc.org. And by the way, you can always head to KUNC.org to check out some recent In The NoCo interviews. We podcast every interview we publish, so you don't have to miss a minute of the show. Be sure to follow In The NoCo for free wherever you like to listen to podcasts. That's it today for In The NoCo. I'm Brad Turner. We'll be back tomorrow.